How did I get my start in the funeral business? Today I'll talk about my entrance into funeral directing and embalming. Stay tuned.
Are you ready for true tales from a real undertaker? Everything from strange situations to crazy paranormal experiences. For over 20 years, Mark Tofson was a funeral director and embalmer working everywhere from California to Japan. Get set to hear about his hauntingly crazy adventures.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about how I actually got started in the actual funeral business. For 2 years I was working with the coroner's office, doing pickups and helping with autopsies, things like that. Uh, Eventually I decided I wanted to get into the funeral business because I was getting a lot of thank you letters and people thanking me, and I felt like I was being very helpful and helping them at a bad time, and I really enjoyed being helpful to people. So I thought, well, if I get into the funeral business I will be able to do that and, well, get paid more. So I decided I was going to look into that, and in Southern California, it was very hard to become an apprentice because there being an embalming college there, there was only a few in the country at the time. It was very difficult to get a position as an apprentice. Well, I met a gentleman who was the manager of a funeral home in Orange County. Uh, he asked me if I would be interested in being an apprentice there. Uh, the funeral home was kind of older, kind of run down. Uh, there wasn't a whole lot of choices, so I decided I was going to get out of doing the work for the medical examiner and become an apprentice there. Uh, I found out I was going to take a cut in pay, which was pretty average there since there were so many people trying to get into it. Uh, but I didn't know I was going to be taking that much of a cut. Uh, I was told that I'd be making more money because he would pay me per job, and once I was doing actual embalming I was going to get double. Well, yeah, double was $10 an hour from $5 an hour. So during the week when I worked my actual hours in the funeral home, helping with visitations or doing things around the funeral home after school, I was getting $5 an hour. But if I got to embalm, I got 10. Uh, if I came in on my day off to work a service or something, I got paid per job, which was usually pretty good at the time. So finally I agreed, and this gentleman put me to work right away. I was answering phones and helping with visitations. Well, the first week, he asked me if I would work a service. Uh, it was going to be on a Saturday, so I was going to get paid per job, which was like $60. Um, Now you got to remember this was the 1980s, so money back then was a little bit, we didn't get paid as much. Uh, I had to work the visitation. Well, what it was a gang member that had got into a gunfight with the police, and the police killed him. Well, the family swore up and down that this kid was not a gang member, and they were trying to sue, of course. Uh, so when the visitation happened, all these gangbangers showed up. They were trying to put colors on the kid. The parents are getting mad, taking him off, telling him to quit it, so it started a big fight with the gang members. Uh, it was not fun. So the next day, of course, we had the funeral. Well, this funeral home, like I said, was kind of old, run down, so their equipment was not good either. The limousine was, I think, probably a 1970s model. It was old. The hearse was old. Um, we pulled the car up to have it in have the place in line for the limousine, and I noticed the brake light came on. So I told my boss, I said, I think there's something wrong with the brakes. The brake light came on when I pulled it up. He said, oh, no, it's fine. It's been checked. It's, malfunctioning light. Well, we do the service, and I'm get the family in the car. I'm driving the limousine, and I get out there and the brakes fail. So here I am with a family of gangbangers in my car and no brakes in my car. Uh, yeah, I managed to get the car stopped before we had a wreck. Uh, we got a hold of the boss. Back then we didn't have cell phones, so we had to go to a payphone and call him. He had to quickly come down with his own personal car and drive the family. Of course, they were mad, uh, threatening to sue. It was a big problem. Uh, the second week, I got my apprenticeship papers. In California, you can become an apprentice if you have a licensed embalmer that's willing to sign off on you and kind of watch you do embalmings, while you were learning. Uh, I had observed maybe 3 adult embalmings during this time. There was no way at this time I would have been able to have found an artery. It would have been really tough for me to find the artery, even though I watched it done 3 times. Uh, so I got my apprenticeship papers, and the second week, my boss said, "Oh, there's an embalming on the table for you to do," which uh, the licensed embalmer that I worked under, he wasn't there. He actually kind of quit the job, but he left his license there hanging, saying he was still working, and he was doing trade embalming. Trade embalming is where you go from funeral home to funeral home, and all you do is embalm, and you get paid a set fee to embalm a body, and then you leave. You don't have to dress them or do the other cosmetics or anything. So he was never around. Well, my boss told me, hey, there's a embalming on the table for you to do. Well, I went in there, and it was a baby. Oh my God. I was by myself, nobody there. I was so scared. I mean, it was horrible. I had no clue how to find arteries on a baby. And even after doing it for 20 years, it's still hard. I can do it now, but back then it was really tough. But the baby was autopsied. Uh, I had no clue what I was doing. I called my boss. He said, "Oh, you can handle it. I'm busy." I was really mad. I almost quit that day. So luckily, I was able to figure out in my head. I'd seen them do some hypodermic embalming where you actually inject the fluid directly into the tissue instead of through the artery. Uh, I took a big syringe with a needle, and I basically embalmed the baby with a needle and a syringe because I had no clue where the arteries were, and being autopsied, there was no way. And it was just really a shame that, he put me in that situation. Well, yeah, after a couple of years of that situation, I realized how bad I had it there. Uh, so yeah, I slowly embalmed this baby, injecting each part of his face and arms and everything with a syringe and needle. Uh, I, you know, sewed him up. I knew how to do that. Luckily I knew how to sew. Nobody taught me how to do that part yet. Uh, he came out okay, but I really had bad feelings toward my boss after that. Uh, and it basically got worse. Uh, but yeah, it was a real cut rate place. They tried to, do everything at low cost. That's why the place was all run down. That's why I didn't get paid much. But, when you're an apprentice, you don't have much of a choice. You can only do what you can do. And you back then there was so many people wanting to get in that I was lucky to find a place. Um, they did give me an apartment as part of my pay. I will talk to you about that in a later episode. That'll get into paranormal stuff too. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know about my first 2 weeks in the embalming field and how bad it was. I'm glad you stopped by. Please tell your friends about this. Like I said, I'm just telling people the stories of my experiences. Um, there's going to be mistakes on here. I'm not going to edit it too much. It's just like me talking to my friends. Uh, but yeah, have people come by. Hopefully, you'll like this and you'll subscribe. And if you come back, I'll have some more for you later. Thanks again. Bye.